Hey kids, it is Wednesday, September 9th, 2020. How's it going, everybody? It's going pretty good here. 30 seconds after my last video. Nothing's changed. But let's get through what we need to do for Wednesday, and then you guys can get started on your homework because it is a project that'll be due next Monday, I believe, and it won't be, I wouldn't say it's a hard project, but you have to take your time, and sometimes that's not easy for us. You have to take your time and pay attention to what you're doing, okay? So let's practice what we started yesterday. Hopefully you guys did all of your homework on those sites and practice plotting points. Let's just see what the warm-up has for today, and we'll walk through it. It won't be too bad. Here we go. On your paper, you should have Wednesday, 9/9/20. And our warm-up is this graph. Hopefully you can see the graph here. Alright, we've got all these different letters at different points. Okay, the directions say, determine which letter is at each coordinate using the grid below. Now I only need you to do 5 of these, so you can just ignore this right here, okay? So we're just going to do this 5. If you can't see it, I will read them out loud. Alright. So the first one, number 1, is 3, 8. So we have 3, 8. Alright, if you remember, we always start at 0. And we're going to go left or right. Go right, because it's a positive. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. And then up 8. And they got the numbers on this for us. So G is in that spot. So on your paper, you can just write number 1, G. Okay? Take a look at number 2. Number 2 says 7, 0. 7, 0. Write it over so it looks any better on the video. Can you see that any better? Maybe? Maybe not. 7, 0. We always start at the 0. We're going to go over 7. We're going to go up 0. So jump right there. I don't know if you can see that, but that's a C. So number 2 is C. Okay. Number 3, 4, 3 is what it says. 4, 3. Always start at 0. We're going to go over 4, up 3 to J. Over 4, up 3, takes us to J. Alright, I'm going to let you do the next 2 on your own. Number 4 is 7, 6. 7, 6. Number 4 is 7, 6. And number 5 is 5, 4. 5, 4. 7, 6, and 5, 4. Okay, so hopefully you have those on your papers. Let's make sure you got them right. We got a 7, 6. Go 7, and then up 6, zonk. We got a D. And 5, 4, all the way to 5, up 4, bam, right to K. Alright, not too bad. Piece of cake, right? Piece of cake. Alright, I've got a few other things to show you and go over, and then I'm going to cut you loose on homework. Alright, let me get my slide changed. Okay. And I'll erase up here. You should have that has graph paper in it, like half sheets of graph paper, sort of like something like this, and a project sheet that looks like this. Right? Okay. You're going to need this in order to tell you what to do on the graph paper. Alright? So go ahead and get those two things out. And I'm going to read through this and we're going to do number 1 together. Alright, so get yourselves organized for that. On your half sheet of graph paper, on your half sheet, it's just a half sheet like this, you need to make this first coordinate, this graph that looks just like this. Please use a straight edge, a ruler, or your notebook or something to make it straight. And this is a pet peeve of mine. The reason I give you graph paper is so that you can make your lines on the lines of the graph. Like this is sort of off, isn't it? I don't know if you can see it in the video, but the blue line is just below the black. Try to make it more centered, right on the blue line. Okay, so you are going to do that for each one of these graph papers. Okay, you've got to make this graph just like that. And then you're going to mark them. And this is the time-consuming part. It's not hard, but it's time-consuming. You got to make sure you do it right. So we're going to do this. Mark them. We got 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then I think for yours, I think you're going to have to keep going because some of these go bigger. So 12, 13, 15, 16. I think 16 is probably about as big as you have to go. But as you do each shape, be mindful that you may have to make more numbers. Okay? This is part of the skill of paying attention to detail. Alright? So then you're going to go on up. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have to create this for every sheet, every one of the shapes that you're going to create. Okay? Alright, so now on your graph paper, this first one, just make this number 1. Just somewhere on there, put a number 1 on it so we know. Don't forget, maybe put your name on the back of it too. Or somewhere on there, so in case they get mixed up, we'll know whose was whose. Okay, so we've got our graph paper. Put your name somewhere, like I can just put my initials. You just put your initials. Okay? So I look at my sheet, it looks like this, and it says, using different pieces of graph paper, graph the set of points. After plotting each point, draw a line to connect the points. Use a straight edge to connect the points, and when finished, you should have a specific shape. Okay, so here we go with number 1. I'm doing number 1 with you, so if you do this with me, you'll have number 1 completely finished. Okay? So here we go. We got 3, 4. That's our first point. So we're going to go over 3, up 4. And then we have 8, 11. So I'm going over 8. Ooh, I'm going to have to add to my graph, aren't I? So this would be 10. Hopefully yours will be big enough. And then here's 11 right up there. So I go 8, and then up 11. Wait. 8, 11. See, I had to be careful that I didn't go to a different line. 8, 11. Okay, and then it says that I have to use a straight edge to connect those dots. So I'm going what I have handy. But you can use whatever you have. The ruler's probably the best, but try to line it up. Get it just about right. Okay, so I connected those 2 points. Connected those 2 points. Now I've got my, to go back here. You know what I think you should do is cross these off as you do it, so you don't get confused. Alright, so you're going to cross that off. 3, 4 we did. 8, 11 we did. Now I'm going to do 13, 4. So I'm going to go all the way over to 13. It's off my graph, but that's okay. And then up 4. Let's see, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So approximately right there. Then connect my dots. I shouldn't say dots. That's an elementary term. Connect the points. That's a geometry term. So we're going to connect these points. And connect our last points. Dun dun dun. You should have a shape that looks like this. Anybody know the name of that shape? I'm sure you do. The triangle, correct? So if you want to for today, you don't have to do this on all of them because you may not know all the names. You will after tomorrow. But you can label it triangle. Okay? So your job right now is to get a good start on this graph, on these graph packets. Okay, so you've got, I did 1 with you, so you need to do 2, 3, 4, and 5. Alright, take your time, make sure you do it correctly because your shape will not turn out right if you get it all goofy. Okay, so take your time, make sure you're being diligent, okay, and paying attention to what number you're on. And then, so each page is going to have a different shape on it. Alright, so you should end up with 5 different pieces of graph paper that each has a shape. And I may have given you a few extra pieces just in case you goof up. Okay? Oh, use pencil on this. Trust me. Okay? Just trust me on this. Use pencil because if you goober it up, it's just easier to erase. Okay? Alright, let me know if you have any questions, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.